Okay, everyone, and welcome back. You are running through a forest. It is late at night, and the sky is as black as pitch. There is nothing to light your way, save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire, as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on and on. Though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you have been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you. Then your life will be over. You do not know if she is still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. Your legs would lock up, and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise, when you made that contract, that you would never be alone? You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It is cold enough to sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. It feels as though you are drowning. It feels as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run, and you run, and you run, until, at long last, you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4, if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though. Not when you've put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight, given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it may be, you must have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? I would like to see the castle first, I think. So, you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their beleaguered, put upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It is far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. That is very astute of you. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I hope only that you have brushed up on your curtsies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental, after all. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready, at a moment's notice, to detach from your hips. You are little more than a wisp of a girl. But you've been running for so very long. Your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what, exactly, will await you at the castle, but you have visions, as you run, of a vast, opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and a queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise. And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She will be kind to you, and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters, for that matter. Me neither. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Was there not a very famous queen who once said, with a cavalier wave of her hand, that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake, if bread was not an option? You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. Though royals are supposed to grant their subjects succor in their time of need, this does not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people, at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There is no guarantee that this mythical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there is no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. It is this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within, in the narrow, slitted windows. It would appear that somebody is home. The king and queen, perhaps? What of their servants? What, perhaps more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect, as you stand there, that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Begone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were, before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But, though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there is nobody outside of its perimeter standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates, which are set into vast stone walls about the castle's exterior, are open, just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There is nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far. It would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has, at long last, begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy and as secretive as a thief, then cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted about the castle's grounds, they should all have been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you at long last? What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in dungeons? does not sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. At least, you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding a panicked, irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You are thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder. Where is everybody? Why? It is almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown and press your palm back against the door. Nice sound. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There's no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured, you then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and the resultant slam makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and, with wild eyes, you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone, which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there is a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in sconces on the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle's empty. If that is the case, though, then who lit these torches? It is a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage, then cry out, addressing the empty hall in timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. "Hello," you say, your eyes wide. "Is anybody there?" Your voice echoes through the vast empty hall, but it is met yet again with silence. You cannot say you are too surprised, but it is somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem to be particularly sociable. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You will never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know. It is time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of a similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of aeons past, memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you imagine. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you can see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest, then, that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. Chandra. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand in the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Oh, hi. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking, you cannot look away from her. The girl is not alone in her chamber, either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so endearing as she. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting a china teacup held in the girl's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume to be her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl, because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now she is looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames in their grate. You can see that you were mistaken. She is not just pretty. She is beautiful. So much so, it is breathtaking. She looks as though she stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she is none of those things. The doll on her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain, and it is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who is holding it. She is so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You're rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight-errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it is not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as, too, can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says in a voice that, surprisingly enough, far less refined than her appearance.
It is good to see you. I've been waiting.
As she, that is news to you. You blink, perplexed, a response on the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to expel it into the ether. The girl is setting her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly, like a ballerina, she canvasses the space between you. A room is so very large, there is quite a lot of space. Then takes your hands in her own.
You must,
the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement.
Be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You'd never leave me alone, not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy.
The girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You're tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You've never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she's always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You are not a good enough actress.
Screw you, Abby. I may not be perfect, but I'm okay, damn it.
You are not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It is with blank bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her fingers sliding away from your own.
Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all?
The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so, your heart clenches. You do not know her. She is still a stranger, but you are struck, all of a sudden, with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You were not aware. You tell her that you had applied to be her maid, but if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country, and you have traveled for many miles. You know not where you are, and you do not know who she is.
What? You don't know who I am?
It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though that is no fault of your own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself.
Oh, so you are a fugitive, then, from another country, I see. I won't pry into your past, then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all. Or at least they should.
Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling, instead, that she is merely telling the truth.
If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know that other countries do exist out there. I presume it is from one of these foreign countries that you come from. It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity.
Girl giggles at this, and you smile in response. You tell her, unthinkingly, that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her, or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. I'm willing to venture a guess it's the princess, to be perfectly frank. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess?
Yes, that's right. I'm a princess, and one day I'll be a queen, after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best in my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was.
So, she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise, regardless. You hadn't known, before you entered this chamber, that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up on your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address, that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you.
Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here?
You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You are not from this world at all.
How wonderful. I look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long, I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her.
Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning, by degrees, into something rather more pensive.
But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared.
Now, that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear?
That I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring.
She said that her ministers sent her servants away. What of her parents, the king and queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy?
They would, yes, if they were still alive. But they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants.
Oh, you answer, and then you flush. You hadn't known.
It's all right. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners.
You can imagine so, yes. You doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan, with an intelligent face indistinguishable from humans, would be very good at answering back.
Oh, no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You have no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here.
Hey. Now, that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in what curiously conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined.
Oh, but listen to me yammering again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room?
Yes, the princess announces before you say anything in reply.
I think I'll do just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here. I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all.
Oh yeah, Princess is passionate. Princess is very passionate. The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, whereat she offers you some victuals. Victuals? That's another new one. What the fuck? I see you, Frick. Victuals. That's a new one. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway and up a series of equally dark, twisting steps, until she arrives, at long last, before a door. The princess pushes the door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. This chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There is a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. Apparently victuals is an adjective describing something old-fashioned and humorous. Huh. Okay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though, if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is that it is cold in every room in her abode.
Now, here we are, the final stop of our tour. This'll be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking.
The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's.
Oh, sweet puppy dog eyes.
Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn your nose up at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. The girl who's like a puppy, oh no, whatever shall I do? I guess I have to wife her. The room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it is more than passable. It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you've slipped beneath the bed sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous watchings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There is only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles.
Oh, that's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been skulking around, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, in the attic, with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid. You're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now, it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for reveling on. I have heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper's warned me enough times.
You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You were always scolded, too, back in the conservatoire, for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but just for being yourself.
Well, I'm glad you understand,
the princess answers with a giggle.
I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow. If you don't mind my ceaseless prattle, I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did.
The princess departs, and in her absence you take a seat upon the bed. Your new bed. You cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle, no less, and you have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. It seems premature, still, to declare that you are out of the woods, in the metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you, and change into the nightclothes hanging in the wardrobe. The nightclothes do not fit you perfectly, but you are too tired to care about that. You are too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale, and lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You are so very tired, your sleep is a deep, dark one, darker even than the furthest abysses of the night time. Like the night sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though, in this case, you rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids like the ghostly images in a phenakistatope. What? Were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming. You are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first, so you were the last for breakfast. You remember how, when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled, too, to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies, too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. But these girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed, and they laughed, and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps, and the pinches. Once, during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. This happened quite some time ago, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp, and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red, like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. Then, when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale. Spinnable disc encircled by drawings in numerous poses with an eyepiece that lets you... Okay. Thank you, Libitina. Big preach. Her face turned as pale as whey, and she looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt. The giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was not too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time, on its own, though it still left a scar, a white, raised thing, like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron. But it could not have been that much, evidently. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing is possible, even more inconsequential. And amidst the process of going through this castle, we found a princess. Very, very attractive, but very, very silly princess. So we ended up going to bed in a very, very nice maid chamber. And we wake up now. You feel disoriented when you awake at long last with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. Ooh, I like the new music. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You were running through the woods, trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not want to think of what it was you were trying to escape from. You presume that you must have You presume that you must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you are still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all of your limbs, and your facial features appear to be the correct configuration. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment. 2 garments, actually, of black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well, if that is the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse as you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them here? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You're not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. Not sure. Probably her. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Yes, we are a girl. Yeah, this is a Eurivian. Ooh. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber. Then make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one, with many, many rooms, and many, many hallways to connect them. And, for a brief while, you find yourself horrendously lost. Yeah, they made that really clear, because remember you were wearing a skirt that got torn as you were running. So yeah, you're a girl. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You're beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps. I can relate. You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. It most certainly is. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door, but receive nothing in the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you oughtn't wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought, instead, to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. Oh, this soundtrack. God, it's so good. Frick. I thought the same thing. I've never heard... There's a lot of language used in this visual novel that I have never encountered before, and it's phenomenal. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the wan morning's light. You can see, now, that there are fewer shadows to impede your view, how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She's attired in a nightgown, adorned with frills, and her hair is split across her pillow like spilled gold. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the very same one she was setting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. God, this soundtrack is so good. It's so good. This is a story featuring Yandere Yuri. Where have I seen them before? Yeah, about that. Man, where is everybody? Somebody go do some promotional work for me. Get some people in here. This VN is too good to get missed. It is time to wake your mistress. You call out to the princess. She is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still sewn tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too, and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs, then turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest.
Just give me a little longer.
The princess sounds so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you've learned anything from the conservatoire, save for knowledge pertaining to the respiratory tracts of fish, it is that one must be cruel to be kind. You do not think this adage was precised with any great success in the conservatoire, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her once again to wake up, more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to still be abed at such an hour. I mean, come on, dude. Like, look. What is it? 10, 11? I relate to this princess so much.
Oh,
Defeated, the princess sighs.
all right. Oh, I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger.
Oh, look at her.
I am up. I am up. You don't need to nag me.
Once you have roused the princess from her bed, and you have put her doll to one side, you set upon her toilette. You aid the princess in the brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. Oh, I relate.
Hey, Libitina, what's up?
What is this, 10, 11? Well, at least it ain't 10, 16. Hey! Very nice, I like that. But this is me. This is so me. Guys, I should have been a princess. I should have been a princess. Because this is me. Please, pet me, love me, brush my hair. Brush my hair. Oh. I was so thrilled to discover that is something Sinner enjoys doing. Because, like, every time it really doesn't matter what mood I'm in. If he gives me the impression like he wants to play with my hair, like just running his fingers through it or something, I immediately submit to that shit. I love it. Please pet me, love me, adore me, please. Didn't you have? I mean, yeah, I am the queen of Illidaries. Well, yeah, that too. But I am the true Yandere queen. Although I know some waifuisms would argue with me on that one. You allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair. How wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess.
Are you all right, dear one?
Brings you back to your senses. You were rather lost in thought there. Look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought that you had learned your lesson about that already. Nunny. When suitably chastened, you finished with the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Right? Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. Uh-oh. Okay, Twitch, look. This is a Game Jam VN, okay? If something happens here, I didn't see it coming, okay? The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at you askance. Looking up at you askance. Got it. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, and nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Is that all right? You ask the princess as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs.
Yes, that's all right. It's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it.
She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. You've never seen a naked woman before. You've never seen a naked woman before, excepting yourself. I'll have you know that in some countries the princess's royal bathroom and dress lady was a coveted and powerful position, as you regularly got private audience with one of the most powerful people in the land. That's fair. I'd love to do it. I mean, what? Even then, however, you've always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than is strictly necessary. You've never much liked the way that you look. You make a few more you make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily.
It's all right. I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all of our clothes. I doubt we look much different.
You are not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know, to look at her face, that you are different. She is much, much prettier than you are. But she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. You steady your nerves. Thank you so much, Abby. Big preach. Thank you. I mean, nude sprites would have been cool, but thank you. Then you reach out with trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. You work as quickly as you were able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of the buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you are doing, or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She is not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond her shoulder to the windowsill and the sky beyond it.
It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one?
You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on dressing her again.
This is great.
I love this. I love this too much. And this is just one route. This is just one. We have 3. The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Fortunately, you are able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on, perhaps, by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, her motions once again as graceful and as fluid as a dancer's. This is a weird way to depict the beginnings of a yandere relationship. I mean, yeah. Can you guys imagine? Like, the first time back almost 2 years ago, my first trip here to visit Sinner. And I'm like, I would like you to undress me. Good shit. Good fucking shit. This task completed, you search hurriedly, worriedly, for the princess's red dress. Oh, do you? Wait, is that what happened? It's not. It'd be funny as hell if it were, though. Man was worshipping me from day one. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's not here, so he can't defend himself, so I gotta pick on him. Where is it? You cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily, as you search, the princess standing there all the while, as naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? What a fool you are. The princess, noting your panic, giggles, then says,
Are you looking for my dress?
Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you were doing.
I thought so. I did wonder, before you started undressing me, why you'd not asked where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind?
It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. Don't worry about picking on poor Sinner. I am sure at some point he's deserved this. You're not wrong. Which reminds me to check on him. Okay, he's still okay. Cool. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how best to conceal it.
My dress is in my armoire,
The princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough, or so you estimate, to fit inside enough dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses.
I'd like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? I don't want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked.
I would be 10 shades of red right now. Oh. You are female. This is a Yuri visual novel. Both characters are female. Well, let me rephrase. Both characters in this route. I don't know if that changes depending on the route you're on. We've got 2 others that we have yet to explore. But the protagonist, I can say with certainty, is female. And as is our current waifu. She wants to make you one of her mistresses. Yes. Yes. Lady in waiting, essentially, is what she wants of us. She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Now, with that having been said, I will say something. Even though I will be 10 shades of red with how just completely comfortable she is with the situation, at the same time, it would be far more difficult for me, as opposed to our protagonist. It would be way more difficult for me to look away. I would be staring. As much as I love Sinner and am thoroughly enjoying the monogamous life, when put in the face of a pretty girl, especially if that pretty girl is not clothed, I stare like a 14-year-old boy. I can't help myself. It is what it is. Lady in waiting is just one of the army of attendants that serve the queen's general needs. Yes. So a mistress. I think I get that reference. How can a literal... Oh. That's what I thought. Okay. I wanted to make sure I got that right. Oh my gosh, my mascara. I need to get new mascara. It's like flaking into my eyeball. There we go. It's for those of you that don't wear makeup, it's about as uncomfortable as having an eyelash in your eye. It's very unpleasant. What did I just hear? Okay. Once there, you open its wooden... Oh, I bet it was the game. God. Yeah, okay, I do need to say this. The sound production in this game is very good. They made I don't know if the one who did the sound had a omnidirectional mic to where you could create the sound on the correct side of the microphone so that it would only go into wherever it was located in 360 degrees. But somehow, even without that, they managed it. There have been several sound effects so far in this visual novel that have made me go, what was that? And look around, when in fact, it's the game. But it's happening in very specific directions to my ears, and I'm, loving that. Like, for a visual novel, excellent production quality. I'm very impressed. One thing I think I've noticed, though, and pardon my asking, but I take it you possibly have... What? Yes. Yes, I have a lazy eye. Yes, I do. I had it since I was a little bitty. I'm amused that you've noticed that. I try very hard to correct it. Like, if I feel it happening, it usually only happens either first thing in the morning or last thing at night, or if I'm drinking. Because when my eyes are in a more tired, muscular state, the lazy eye will tend to veer. But that's very observant of you, Frick. Muy bien. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. Inside that wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. I know! Hey! Welcome, Noel. I am glad to see you. Noel! Actually, I'm glad you're here. I have a quick question for you. Are you back to work? Maddie is too busy for me. I love Maddie. If you're watching, I love you to death, and I totally understand you keep making that awesome visual novel. But unfortunately, he can't do the interview, because you'll remember that we had shifted things when you took a break. He was supposed to do it, but he is just far too busy. So, if you are back to work, please DM me, and I'll look after the stream. Yeah, like the interview we were gonna do. You know, that one. If you're good to go, just DM me. I just wanted to say it while I was thinking about it. Otherwise, I'd forget. DM me. You find the princess's red dress soon enough. Then, hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. She is easier to look at now, you think, with her skin concealed. I'm gonna have to argue with you, bud. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Why, it seems a small miracle you can still remember how to breathe.
That's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you.
Dress yourself, bitch. Sorry. Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing, really, nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible, and in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. You know, our protagonist is a bit of a prude. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I, when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to. And anyway, I think you're very pretty too.
Oh my. Your face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. Dress yourself, princesses weren't supposed to breastfeed their own babies, really? Now that I didn't know, but it doesn't surprise me. Frick. You ought to count yourself lucky, really. What with all of this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. You are making yourself quite the easy target. They had a wet maid. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I mean, the coloration is... Yeah, it is. You're not wrong. And she does have fangs, which I find intriguing. I noticed them immediately. Literally immediately.
Now,
the princess declares. You begin to hear a girl's voice in the distance. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
no, frick, that's not how that works.
No, he got me with that one. That's not... That's not what he means by wet. God damn it, Frank. That was good. That was really... that was really good. Good job. Oh, man, that was a good one. Oh, I wasn't ready. It's been a while. It's been a while. It feels good. I think I'll take a drink. Let's see what, we've got about 5 minutes until the first ad break. So...
Now,
the princess declares,
why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I get so very bored of being cooped up inside.
You can't think of any particular objections to... Thank you very much, so. You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick, they put you in mind of a crypt. With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. Nice, Frick. Nice, I see you. Actually, this is probably... oh, excuse me. Probably a good spot for a break. So, actually, I'll do that manually. We're gonna go ahead and take a break, since it's right around time for the ad break, so, we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. See you soon. She seems not to walk, as she navigates her way through the seamlessly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. One sec. There you go. Thank you, Zoe. The hem of her dress swishes around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. No worries. No. Don't apologize. It's fine. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. Nice, thank you, Zoe. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, which look, in stark midday light, tall and imposing, faceless soldiers standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It is all rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. The princess, however, seems to not share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses.
Oh, very pretty. Do you not think they are gorgeous, dear one?
The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. Pretty. They make for a fine spectacle, in fact, a welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and the drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so for these roses. They are a rich, bright red, just like blood, their heads so full they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. A bit. Yeah, a bit. They are pretty, in a sense. But there's something unsettling about them, too. Something that is almost obscene. How did those roses become so very red? What has been sustaining them? Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but...
Oh, they are simply divine. Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers.
Mine too. I love roses. I like Scarlet Carsons myself. It's a particular kind of red rose. Deku. They're a very deep, vibrant red. And they're very pretty. I love them. I'm also, honestly, I find that black roses are a bit of a guilty pleasure. Basically, it's what would happen if you take roses and hanged them upside down, as they die, so the petals become frozen in this, like...
I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. I could use a bit of color.
Did we? How did I miss this? When did that happen? Whomever you... Whoops. No, cancel. Whomever you are, I'm sorry I didn't notice you. I didn't get the notification. How weird. Iceberg roses? We'll deviate too far. I could sit and talk about roses and look at roses all day. But at least one can say that we've satisfactorily stopped and smelled the roses. I think there's only a single rose that kind of makes me uncomfortable in a way. I believe you know which one I'm talking about. You know, Frick, sometimes your pun-centric mind does things. Oh, you're fine, Deku. I started it, so... You saw the follow count go up by 1. That must have happened off-stream. How interesting. Well, to whomever you are, welcome. And the princess reaches out so as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place amongst its brethren. You're good, Frick. It's fine. But yeah, uncomfortable is a word. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious that this gesture might result in perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Thank you, Greg. Right on. Yeah, Bun Bun, let me know who it was so that I know. Of course she's not. Who did you think she was? You? Oh, burn! I just got burned by the narrator. God damn. Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you worried more about yourself.
Narrator? You're crossing the line, I think.
Probably yes, I've dropped too many wine bottles to count. I relate to that, Deku. I'm with you, buddy. I really am. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence pass. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown.
Now, let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me.
The princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburdened head.
She loves me not.
The princess continues with this childish incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of all its petals. These petals flutter about the princess like a bloody snow. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of a pianola. Pianola, interesting.
She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me not.
The princess's fingers hover over the final petal, which crowns her newly denuded flower. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares,
She loves me. I knew it.
You watch the princess, amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she's been reciting is one that you are familiar with. The girls at the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game, the younger ones, at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself. Bun. When you might have participated in this game when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle.
Oh, dear one. Who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you.
Naturally. She says it so easily, as though you ought to have suspected as much, and indeed, part of you did.
Aw, Deku, it's okay. Your prince will come, I'm sure. I know mine did. Believe me, I've dealt with my fair share of less great princes and princesses, all of which are, thankfully, in the past.
You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. You did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, her voice clear and sweet, like a nightingale's song, as though you are the funniest thing she's ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it is different with her. You've not known her for all that long, but you are already entranced by her, ensnared. She has wrapped you around her little finger.
Oh my!
The princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as, smiling, she wipes your eyes with the back of her hand.
That was quite the amusing diversion, but I've just had an idea.
You look at the princess curiously. What idea?
You can't tell?
You cannot even begin to guess.
I just thought that all this watching must be boring you,
The princess says, tossing the rose's stripped stem carelessly to the ground.
You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun.
The princess retrieves a second rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. Oh, Deku. Okay. School's in session, lads. A yandere is a dere type, otherwise known as... It's a trope. It's an archetype. It's a personality found in fiction. And in real life, but I digress. Many people know lots of pop culture yanderes. In anime, you've got Gasai Yuno, Kotonoa from School Days. I know y'all can help me with more. Lila, my OC, of course, is a yandere. Basically, a lot of people who look at the yandere archetype in general way immediately assume that yanderes are about murder, right? Without having a... There you go. Thank you. Without this very scary girl that's in love and willing to kill, a yandere does not exist, correct? No. The defining feature of a yandere is obsession, passion. That's where I came up with the "we are a passionate people" trademark, because we are. The things that we care for deeply, thoroughly, and obsessively. So when you have characters that are yanderes, they are obsessed. They are completely overwhelmed by their affection. Now, mind you, yandere obsession does not necessarily mean romance. There can be... Yanderes can be the most devout fans. Misa Misa from Death Note is another example of a yandere. But for her, it didn't start as romantic. It started as fandom, worship. Like in the clip that you guys saw on the break, worshipping someone as though they were deity, if they are your new god. It's all about obsession. Naturally, when you have very, very emotionally... The real-life analog would be a stalker. Thank you, Libitina. Yes. And naturally, when you have someone who is so emotionally unstable that they can make their entire being about another person and be devoted to that person to such a profound degree, violence is likely to happen. But it's not the defining feature of a yandere. A yandere does not have to kill. A yandere only needs to be obsessive. Like me. I don't kill anybody. I couldn't hurt a fly. I mean, I do. I kill bugs. But I have never shed another human's blood. Nor have I ever shed the blood of an animal. Just bugs. Just bugs. And only the bugs that could hurt me. That sounds like a girl that I was with, not murder, but she... Yeah, exactly. And it happens. Oof. Ouch, Libitina. That's not fun. That's not fun. But yeah, so obsessive, stalkerish, emotionally unstable, broken. That is the most common example of a yandere. And for me, the archetype is far too familiar because I am a passionate person. Trademark. In fact, it seemed to Oh, Libitina. Oh, that breaks my heart. I hate to hear that. Ugh. Yikes. Yikes. One final feature that you'll encounter with a lot of yanderes, myself included, is with obsession not only applying to romance, familial obsession. For example, the obsession of protecting one's younger sibling to the point to where if that younger sibling is in danger, woe be to the other individual. Yeah. God forbid if anybody threatens or otherwise places my brother Greg at risk, woe be to them. Because I will stop at nothing to make that go away. Except death. Because I don't murder people. Because it's illegal. And immoral in many cases. But not all. The princess retrieves the second rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you.
I want to see what fate has in store for you, too.
So, love you, Zoe. When I met Zoe, I was very protective. And I am very glad and relieved to find out that she's been wonderful for my brother. And as long as she continues to do that, we'll be gravy. Thank you for the school lesson. I need to put back all my dunce cap and sit in the corner chair. And the same thing for my younger sister, if anyone... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now, there are two different types of yandere. There is the yandere and the yangire. Yanderes are just the way they are naturally. That's just how they were born. A yangire is one who becomes a yandere. A yangire is one who becomes a yandere through trauma. Something horrific happened to them to make them that way. Usually associated with the subject of their affection. I can. There you go. Yandere. Got it. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not have been the best use of your time. But the princess looks so very determined, you would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? Ooh, ooh. Consent is sexy. The only real causality of this game would be one singular rose. The rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but you're a clumsy person and you prick your finger, don't you? Called it. Uh-oh. Guys, the music stopped. Uh-oh. Well-timed Deku. My sound alerts are not working. You really are an idiot. Oh boy, it's been a minute. Let me see what I can do about that, because that needs to be working. Refresh. Hopefully that worked. I'll play it for you. Maybe. Yes. I'll play it for you. See if it works. It's time. There it is. Yep, already on it. Thank you. Yeah, got it. Got it.
Oh no!
You are clumsy, and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. The head of the rose might be pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns, too.
And to oblivion you go, demon!
It's working now. Roses have thorns, too. A fact you are now being painfully reminded of. Pain flares through your finger, and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging, and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid?
You poor dear, you're bleeding,
The princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns.
This is all my fault. If I'd not suggested this silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you.
I see you, Deku. And how is she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, with which she might staunch your wound.
So am I. And they foreshadowed it earlier. I hope she is. I do love me some vampire things.
Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around with them, don't they? Silken ones. How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude once these aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It simply is not done.
She seems like the personification of a jelly-filled donut. She really do, though. She really does. You're not wrong. I will definitely give you that. God, you have officially... I can't look at her the same way now. This is great. Bravo, Deku. Bravo.
Yandere vampire? Mm-hmm. Right? That is what you always thought. But...
Please, hold still. This might sting a bit.
We called it, guys. This princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she, instead, encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand.
3 rights do make a left.
Carefully, as though she's handling a precious object, she raises your hand, her eyes affixed all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood which are oozing luridly from your wound. She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head. She parts her mouth and, with a soft sigh, which borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit between her teeth. So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as tokens of appreciation. This might not be a conventional kiss, but feels intimate regardless. Almost startlingly so.
Libertina's here spitting facts for us. I see this coming.
The princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger.
Apparently we are, Frick.
You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth around your skin, and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what it is she is doing.
Oh?
The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger.
Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding.
Yes, you gathered as much, but...
Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I?
It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable per se, but this is rather awkward. You did not expect it, that is all. And is she not worried that this is unhygienic? I see the narrator's with you, Libitina. Feel too uncomfortable in the situation. I'd somehow be both into and not into that. Yeah, such is the same for many people.
Unhygienic?
The princess blinks. She is the very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue.
I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I've heard that this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do.
And, you ask, your voice catching in your throat, did her nursemaid keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she got older?
Well, no, but my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my ladies' maids to look after me then.
How very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this?
No,
the princess says, smiling mischievously.
Because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly.
Back in your day, you've probably been told mercury's the cure for syphilis. It's hard not to be with this scene and it being a vampire. Yeah, no, I'm very much leaning that direction. Like, you can't diss me while sucking on my fingers. And that hanging roadkill around your house staves off the plague. Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. But, Deku's right. Now, that was quite the sharp retort. Vampires are passionate people. Passionate people are vampires. What? You did not expect it. Your face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible, though this might, perhaps, be to your benefit. And with some luck, all of your blood will flow to your face, rather than your finger, and your bleeding will stop. I don't know what you're talking about, Deku. I never said anything of the sort. I never said anything of the sort. Those two are not mutually exclusive. Not every Yandere is a vampire. Not every vampire is a Yandere. I'm just saying it happens a lot. That's all I'm saying. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling. But she is. You are not accustomed to intimacy of this nature. It is making your heart flutter. If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you are sure she would not be so very familiar. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. Yeah, in a way it is. But the ideal is not to consider that part. You know, the part of it that's logical. Hey, Blood Raider, what's up, buddy? Welcome. Glad you're here. Hey, man, I don't like this. I'd rather suck on my finger myself. Yeah. I mean, look. Some people are into that. You know. It's an interesting situation. Is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. Swear I'm not simping for my girlfriend, totally not at all. Nani? You're simping for your girlfriend? What? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I believe you. It's oddly specific, but okay. I'm watching the dialogue between Deku and Frick, and it's amusing me. Okay, this is probably a good spot for a break. So, enjoy your break, and we'll be back in just a few quick minutes. See you soon. Oops. Button, but where's the button? Oh. Ah, do I have somewhere to go after this? I do. Cool. Okie dokie. That is, I'll be still at it by the time we wrap up. Okay. But yes, I am very, very genuinely theorizing that we're dealing with a vampire here. Could be mistaken, could be totally innocent, but I don't think so. The days pass following your misadventures in the Rose Garden in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, so much so you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There is no running to be had while you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and, in any event, there is no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. It is mainly reptilian, nutty the fuck. You can scarcely recall as you lay down in your bed. No. The petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. The more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You have become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You are in the princess's chambers. You are in the princess's chambers later, perhaps, than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there is little save the light of the moon to alleviate it. That, and the fire which crackles in the grate. You have only just finished stroking that... stroking. Shut up. Fuck. It's like Thinner in his, let's see, what was it? Thrusting doorknobs? That's what it was. Fuck. Ah, gutter, there you are. Oh, come on. Fuck, every time I look at the line, it's, oh, God. I literally... You have only... Dude, this is Pull It Out for me all over again. Okay. I'm a professional. I can do this. Okay. I'm a pro. I can do this with a straight face. I do this for a living. This is my job. Man,
Yeah, professional streamer. Oh, bro! Hey, I see you guys in there. I mean, I doubt she doesn't want to. What? Okay. You fuck! Okay. Shit. Oh man. Oh gosh. Man, this reminds me of the old days performing on a stage before an audience and something like this happens and you're fucked. Welcome back. Oh man, okay. Me completely destroying myself. I added an R to the word stoking and hilarity ensued. Like, this is gonna be a clip. I guarantee if one of you haven't clipped this by now, which I'm suspecting you did, it's probably happening as we speak. Also adding us some fuel to the fire. Yeah. Thank you for... I hope it lets you go back far enough.
You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look to the princess, who's lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause.
Wait, dear one. Do not go. Not just yet.
Deku. Perplexed, you pause, then look back to the princess.
I will say, there are enough P words in this visual novel that I am getting plenty of practice with plosives. And I feel that I'm getting better with them.
Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she all right?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little out of sorts.
Okay. And what, you ask, does she mean by that?
Only that it is very cold and very dark, and it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk.
The princess is... She's gonna pull a curveball and turn into a punk metal band singer? I mean, yeah, sure. The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was grey and steely. The wind bitingly cold.
Right? Libertina, I see you. Yeah. Yeah, what about that?
You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone, and it is well fortified. But even with the fire, it is rather cold.
Yeah, I figured too much time had passed, which is fine. But thank you all the same.
You do not like to think of how much chillier, by comparison, it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace.
And what? Why do you now instead look like the embodiment of a jelly-filled donut? You now look like the embodiment of Colgate toothpaste. Oh my god, you're not wrong. Oh no. Oh no. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable.
You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be all right, all alone in her oversized bed, in her high-ceilinged bedchamber? You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be all right? There's nobody in the castle to hurt her. But still, you fret for her. Right? As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased, perhaps, that you are taking the initiative. Damn. It is the eyebrows, I think. I think that's part of it. Yeah. She's also just like the way she's drawn. It's something about her hair and just the overall scale of her body. It's very imposing. Yes, thank you. Libitina gets it.
I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it is so very late, but would you mind sitting with me a little while longer and reading to me? Provided that you can, of course.
Bitch! The fuck are you saying? You think I can't read? Bitch? This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Yeah. Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course, you can read. True. You were a poor student in many aspects at the conservatoire, but you had something, a gift, when it came to the literary arts. It'd be weird for a lady in waiting not to be able to. Yeah, exactly. Reading books is all you have ever been any good at. I don't like how the narrator likes to talk down to me. I mean, I do like it, but I like that I don't like it. Does that make sense? Like, I like that the narrator has personality. I think that's cool.
Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do.
The princess's high praises make you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read, you reassure her, is not such a great feat.
Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly didn't read the books that I like.
This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books, exactly, she likes.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see, old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here,
The princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab.
The book is old, though, and the bindings are weak, and the pages brittle, the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one, oh please.
The princess's request seems a simple one, expressed sweetly. So much so, you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Oh, that means it's so soft. Oh, I like a mattress I can sink into. I like a mattress so soft and fluffy that it just feels like it's gonna swallow me. I have yet to own a bed with a mattress like this. It's frustrating. But yes, I love it. Did the narrator just call us back? Then, you then retrieve the leather-bound book, which is resting upon her bedside table, and spread it open, much like her legs. What? Mm-hmm. Ooh. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. I mean, as long as the body is warm. You can feel. Welcome back. Oh no. Oh, dog. Oh, I hope your puppy feels better soon. Throwing up puppies is never fun. Uh-huh. Oh, I know. I played it earlier. Or, not today yet. Did I? Not today, no. Usually, lately. You can feel, in the heft of the book's manifold pages, the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read to the princess, a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured. Yes, Deku, it worked. Hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of this aged tome, and they lived happily ever after, the princess sighs, as though this tale has touched her very soul. I just realized this was really loud. Sorry, guys. He's fixed. Oh.
Would that there was a handsome prince to marry me.
She says soberly.
Or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly scullery maid.
You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says,
And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?
Well, of course, you reply. But for a princess to marry a scullery maid.
You're still hung up about that?
The princess titters.
And don't pay it too much heed, I'm just talking to myself.
Except you aren't. I'm here.
As if anything like that would ever happen, when there's no priest around who would officiate it.
Now, I've got one in my community, one of my handlers. He's a great guy. I mean, I'm sure that... What?
Mm-hmm.
You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. Right? The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be nobody to make such a wedding official. Excuse you, princess, but Anne was beheaded because of people just talking. Yeah, exactly. You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But, by the same token, Do you not feel a touch disappointed? Oh, never mind,
That was a nice story,
the princess says.
but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more?
You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber.
I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one story to me? Just one? You can choose a short one, I won't complain.
You have some... No, you're good, buddy, you're good. I love it. So, like, keep it coming, because I'm the streamer. Therefore, my opinion is queen. So, yeah, I like it. Good stuff. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you return to the next story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. You read another story to the princess, which is of a similar vein to the last. Impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. How she can... If you give a mouse a cookie... Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it. Her only request, that of more. If she were less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very comely, however, and so, when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand, without considering the ramifications.
I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big, empty bed. So, I know.
The princess's eyes light up like the night sky in a thunderstorm.
Why don't you sleep with me?
Let's fucking go! You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. I mean, so did I, but let's fucking go! Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself. Sleep with you how? I'm up for with either way. Yeah. Yep.
Didn't you hear me?
The princess giggles.
Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me?
If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course, you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it really be all right for you to accept such an invitation? It would be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting, while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting.
Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be?
The princess's lower lip begins to tremble. Like how I'm making my grocery pickup list and commenting on a fictional... Yeah, sure. I did. Are you kidding? I do that all the time. Does everybody else not, like, multitask to an absurd degree? Whoa, okay. 10 years from now, if her arranged husband gets tired of her, a witness who heard her talking about not having a problem with marrying someone would become a very dangerous thing for her. Just like presidents, executives, royalty has to be careful about what it says. You're not wrong. Even the lowly streamer does have to worry about this to a certain degree. Right? I can't compliment people without carding them, for God's sake.
Do you want to lie with me? Don't you want to lie with me after all?
The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it.
I'm with you, Deku. Like, we're getting to see little peppered bits here and there, which, in my personal opinion, is better. The finger thing was weird. But I love... It's just like in Tundra's novel, right? How we didn't realize that not only was our protagonist a yandere, but so was the subject of her obsession. And none of us realized it because it was completely subtle the whole time. I love that, largely because it's much more realistic. I mean, I've literally made a career calling myself a real-life yandere. Exactly. You know, I am very out in the obsessive open, but more often than not, people who have obsessive tendencies won't show it off right away. So having the same thing occur in a fictional tale is much more realistic, and it adds to the story, like So just said. Atmosphere! You can tell it's going somewhere, and yet you have no idea where. Yeah! Yes! So, Ebby, if you ever see this, marvelous job there. Because there's nothing this girl loves than atmosphere! That's as loud as I can get.
Why would you?
Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me, come.
That's what we're working towards, right? That's exactly what we're working towards. Coming. And that is what you do after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown.
What, Deku? What? Libertina? Oh, Libertina. I'm a little disappointed in you. I expected... Do we... You know what? I guess What? 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 Deku, don't torture me like this. What? Spelled it wrong. So did they, but... Deku, you have me on the edge of my seat. There you go. I know. I'm dying to know what Deku's talking about. Alright, I'll let him do his thing. But I definitely want to know. I mean, do we really need to talk about a fictional character like that? Yes, Deku. Yes, we do. I do. She's supposed to be very attractive. I mean, do you not know what I do for a living? Visual novels. frequently stories where you are in the process of wooing a character of your affection. It's kind of part of it. Frick. Once dressed, you waste no time. I mean, that's important to know. That's important information. Oh my god, I almost did it again, guys. Ma'am, I need to see some ID before I pay you any more compliments. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She is already lying in her glorious four-poster bed, awaiting your return, as though you are a knight errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. Yeah, it is a little chibi. I don't know, but I suddenly feel a lot less good about that, so maybe we're not going to take that tack. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer. Wait. Deku? Okay. Don't scare me like that. You scared the shit out of me, you know that? Oh. My heart. I gotta push it out of my throat. Buddy. Don't be scary like that, man. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm at least mostly just giving you shit, but you made me nervous. All in good fun, all in good fun. And we move forward. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say. I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant, after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says. But I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. Bruh. She's a switch, y'all. Provided she's an adult. This isn't Boxing Day, bitch. And a collective breath was let out as sarcasm is shown. I know, Zoe, right? Like, my entire butthole puckered like fucking mad. I'm just like, no, please, no. I love Deku, no. I saw that. You know what? I saw that one coming, prick. It's one of the few that I actually was ready for. You try a few more refutations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might be even more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Deku. No, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. Alright, okay. You feel warm yourself as you slide into bed beside the princess. Your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's grounds.
Okay, now I'm getting uncomfortable no matter what her age is. Don't worry, like, I'm ready to switch scenes if need be. Nice. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind?
There.
The princess exclaims once your body is lying beside hers. I don't think so. Given how chibi the art is, I'm not anticipating Ebby to put anything adult. I'm ready just in case, because it wouldn't be the first time I'd gotten surprised on stream by a visual novel. But I don't think it's going to happen here.
That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one?
My screen had a Jif peanut butter ad for less than a second. I got fucking jump scared by Jif. Oh no! That's hilarious. That's fucking great. Oh wait, we do know her name. It's Juliana. She just dyed herself as a blondie. Oh god, I hope not. You swallow, and, with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed.
Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know when I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but...
Oh, Deku. Aww. The princess reaches out, then takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain.
When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you. I promise.
You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Right? Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic?
In a way.
The princess replies after a pause.
But you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description.
You were unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor, or an astrophysicist, or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily, and she laughs.
You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it.
Yes, you think, only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. You've been working hard for a long time, been running for even longer. But now, at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body beleaguered by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. Good. What? Oh. Rest. Oh. That one took me a minute. I'll say it. That one took me a minute. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom
Hot kettle? Motherfucker. Literally not an hour ago. You did the same thing. And I said the same thing. So you know what? That's fair. That's fair. We both get mulligans today. Indeed. You gotta pick on your friends, man. The ones you love the most, you gotta pick the most. Keep them on their toes. Which I appreciate. Things, frick. Cosas. I think... Chicken, yes. I think this is a good point to call it for today.